Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Fang Ru died, and at the moment before her death, a book appeared in front of her eyes. After reading it, she realized that everything that Lu Rong owned was snatched from herself. Lu Rong/S husband, Chi Han, should have been her husband, and what Lu Rong had achieved should have been her own. Thinking of myself being introverted and not talkative, I was rumored to look down on country people. I saved Chi Han, but I was given the hat of robbing other people/S credit, and I became an insatiable person. I even married someone who was designed marrying Ning Yuhan. It has been rumored that she loves vanity and wants to cling to a high school, and all of this is because of the existence of Lu Rong, the heroine who wears books, because she has mastered the plot in advance, so that the original heroine/S life, which should have a bright future and a splendid life, has become miserable and depressed. Tragedy. Fang Ru, who knew all this, was filled with resentment, and her eyes were almost bleeding. Outside the door, accompanied by a burst of noisy and flustered footsteps, a man with a fair complexion and elegant demeanor came in. It was Fang Ru/S husband, Ning Yuhan. This man is handsome and elegant. Even now, his face is full of exhaustion, some sweat oozes from his forehead because of running so fast, and his hair is a little messy, but it still can cover up his cleanliness. Fang Ru looked at Ning Yuhan, although the two got married out of necessity, but since they were married, she also wanted to live a good life with Ning Yuhan. But who would have thought that this gentle-looking man was like 1,000-year-old ice when facing her? No matter how she tried to cover her, she couldn't cover her warm, and in the end he would end up with a heart ashamed. The two were married for 10 years, and she died a virgin. For Lu Rong, Ning Yuhan guarded herself like a jade for 10 years. If I am not the person involved, I am afraid that I will be moved by such affection that it a pity that there is no if. As the person involved, only I know what it like to be cold and sleepless every night. That this moment, seeing Ning Yuhan sad face, as if she had died, Fang Ru just wanted to laugh out loud. How ridiculous. Such a cold and heartless man actually showed a sad expression after her death. He should be smiling. He free at last. That he doesn't have to face his wife who bores him anymore. He can be free, without making any cover. Ups, to miss and recall the warm and beautiful moments between him and Lu Rong. Fang Ru soul laughed silently in the air. Her heart was full of violence and unwillingness. Why should her life be stolen by a thief? Why should this thief, after stealing everything from her, plan her to marry a man who could never fall in love with her? Why? A few people came to Ning/S house. They were Fang Ru/S parents and brother-in-law. Fang Ru originally thought that these people were here to help her seek justice. However, after only half an hour, Fang Ru was disappointed. Fang/S father and mother were persuaded by the Fang family/S sister-in-law. I am already dead. Instead of falling out with the Ning family, it/S better to take the opportunity to ask for compensation. Made a deal that in less than an hour, the two families below were able to sit down and talk peacefully. Fang Ru just finds it funny that her own death is still so valuable. Fang Ru laughed loudly, but she couldn't laugh out loud. She was full of sorrow, but she couldn't shed a single tear in her life. She has been kind, self-denying and respectful, but what has she gained? Even her death was used as an exchange, as a bargain. How ridiculous is her life. She hates it. She hates it. These are her parents, the parents she would rather sacrifice herself to maintain and love. She hated Lu Rong even more, this thief, who stole her life in that way, and even designed her to marry a man who would never fall in love with her, making her suffer for the rest of her life. Fang Ru/S soul let out a tearing roar in mid-air, but it couldn't reach the courtyard below at all. Her anger, her despair, no one can hear except herself. Mom, how could you do this? My sister is dead. She was forced to death by the Ning family and that Ning Yuhan. Aren't you here to seek justice for my sister? Didn't you come to avenge her? Why do you want a little money? You can let go of the hatred between the two families. Fang Yu endured and endured outside the door, and finally couldn't /T help but burst in and yelled out. She was also supporting Fang Weihua, the second elder brother of the Fang family. Mom, I don't /T want the Ning family to treat me. They killed Eru, even if I die, I will never let them treat me. Although Fang Weihua/'s body is weak, his skin is so white that it is almost transparent, and the blue blood vessels inside can be seen, but his words are powerful and resounding. He thought in his heart that his parents could not be so unfeeling, but reality gave him a slap in the face. It turns out that the love of parents for their children is not selfless, and it turns out that these can also be exchanged for benefits. Fang Weihua only felt the bitterness in his mouth, which was hundreds of times bitterer than the Coptis chinensis added to the medicine he drank. Fang Ru looked at Fang Weihua and Fang Yu. She was not surprised that Fang Weihua would speak for her. Although this second brother is not in good health, he has always treated himself very well. What surprised Fang Ru was that Fang Yu, who was always arrogant, lazy, and taking advantage in her eyes, would speak for her. In her life, after all, there were still two people who defended her after her death and spoke the truth about her unfair experience. Although he was still resentful, the hostility in his soul gradually dissipated. However, when she saw that even though her second brother and younger sister stopped her, her parents still exchanged her death for a house and 2,000 yuan, Fang Ru/'s heart became colder, and the hostility deep in her soul became more intense. However, before her hostility could be released, she was sucked into a vortex. Fang Ru looked at the scene in front of her, wondering what happened. After she was sucked into the vortex, she came to such a place. The scenery here looks very familiar, but it looks a bit like the Shuangxi village where she once stayed. Speaking of Shuangxi village, Fang Ru suddenly woke up. This is not the same Shuangxi village she once stayed in. Looking at the fork in front of him, Fang Ru remembered that he should be the one who rescued Qi Han here. Fang Ru walked forward slowly, and sure enough, she saw Qi Han lying on the ground not far away. His left trousers had been torn, exposing a knee. Seemingly hearing footsteps, Qi Han turned his head slowly, seeing that it was Fang Ru. A trace of disgust flashed in his eyes. How could it be this vicious woman? Fang Ru didn't /T missed the disgust in Qi Han/'s eyes. She sneered, turned and left. Didn't /T Qi Han think she took the credit for stealing Lu Rong? Then let him wait here to see if he can wait until Lu Rong comes to rescue him. Qi Han watched Fang Ru turn away indifferently, and the disgust in his eyes grew stronger. Fortunately, this woman dared to say that she saved herself in her previous life. In her last life, she was unconscious and didn't /T know who her savior was, and she almost fell for her tricks. Fortunately, Rong was smart and exposed the true face of this woman. Seeing Fang Ru walking swiftly, Qi Han was not in a hurry. He believed that his Rong must be on his way to save him. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.